In EBS, we have document sequence, accounting sequence, and a reporting sequence. But as far as Fusion is concerned, since release 9, we have only two sequences, accounting sequence and reporting sequence. Now let's get into details as to what are these sequences and how do we set it up. This is Arvind Varaganti and you are watching Oracle EBS and Fusion videos channel. So as per the Fusion Financials training series, so this is what we will be discussing in today's session, how to set up accounting and reporting sequences. And this is the task, manage accounting and reporting sequences. But before we get into the task, let's understand what are these sequences. Accounting sequence is a feature that enables to assign a unique sequential number to each GL journal entry once that is posted. Remember, accounting sequence number would be assigned only once the GL is posted. As long as the GL is in unposted status, system will not assign any accounting sequence. So this is a legal requirement in certain countries to assign a specific accounting sequence number to each journal entry once it is posted. And of course, once the journal entry is posted, you cannot delete that particular journal entry, and hence the accounting sequence number which is assigned to that particular journal stays as is. And reporting sequence is a number which is assigned to a journal entry for reporting and audit purpose, and this is generated once the period is closed. So as soon as the period is closed, system will assign one unique reporting sequence number for each of the journal entry within that particular period. So if there are hundreds of journal entries, this sequence number would be assigned to all those hundreds of journal entries. Again, this is a legal requirement, especially in Europe. In certain European countries, this is a legal requirement that we need to assign a reporting sequence number to each journal entry apart from the accounting sequence number. Now let's get into the details as to how do we assign these sequences. But before we even assign the sequences, there is a first prerequisite that under specified ledger options, we need to enable the sequencing. So the task for that would be specify ledger options. So go to your setup and maintenance, specify ledger options, and specify and select the ledger. So under your scope, so in my case, my ledger is Reliance US, which is already selected under my scope. So click on the specify ledger options, scroll down. So here you can see, as far as GL is concerned, accounting and document sequencing. So you can see sequencing by ledger, legal entity, and no sequencing. And this is for document sequencing, enabling of document sequencing for the subledgers. So our current focus in this video is on GL, so I'm not getting into these details. So as far as the GL is concerned, you have three options: no sequencing. So once you click on no sequencing, you cannot enable sequencing even at the subledgers level, or sequencing at a ledger level or legal entity level. So if you specify sequencing at a legal entity level, then you will have an opportunity to enable different to enter or assign different sequences at each of the different legal entities. If you specify the sequencing at ledger level, then you can have one sequence per ledger. So again, in certain countries, there is a legal requirement to have a different sequence numbers for each of the legal entities. So in those cases, you will need to go for sequencing by legal entity. And once you select this particular option, then even in the case of GL journal entry screen, entering of the legal entity becomes mandatory. So you also need to take that into consideration. So in our current case, I'll just go with sequencing by ledger. I want to assign sequencing number at the ledger level. So this is my first step. Click on save and close. And my second step would be to create the sequences. So the task would be manage accounting and reporting sequences. So that's the task. So here you have two tab, sequences and sequencing assignments. So first I will try to create the sequences and then I'll assign that sequences to my ledger under sequencing assignments tab. So click on plus button to create your own sequence. So it's a Reliance US. So probably I'll call it as Reliance US GL posting. That's the name of the sequencing. So I want this particular sequencing to be assigned to Reliance US ledger as far as the posting is concerned. And this is the sequence version name. So I would call it as a FY 2025. So that's for F financial year 2025. I want to use this particular sequencing, and I would start this from 1st of October. But in a real world, you will be uh, assigning the effective start date as the start date of your financial year. But this being a testing environment, I'm just saying I just want this particular sequence to be effective from October 1st, 2025. So if I try to create any GL journal entries with an accounting date on or after October 1st, 2025, then system should ideally use this particular sequence. And what is my initial number? Probably I would go with an initial number of probably 10,000. So let me just make a note. So as far as the GL posting is concerned, my sequence name is FY 2025 and it starts with 10,000. Let me save this. Save and close. Now let me go to the sequence assignment. Click on plus. Now this is where I will be assigning these sequences, whatever I have created to my ledger. So I'll specify ledger as Reliance US ledger, and journal entry type you have general ledger and sub ledger. So sub ledger is used wherein you want to have similar kind of an accounting sequencing or reporting sequence when you try to do a create accounting in sub ledger. So as our current focus is GL, so I'm not getting into these details. So I'll select the general entry type as general ledger. And as far as the sequencing event is concerned, you have two options: posting and period close. So period close is the sequencing event which you will choose when you are setting up a reporting sequences. So in this case, first I will be setting up of the accounting sequence. So as far as accounting sequence is concerned, the sequencing event would be posting, and general entry type is general ledger. Sequence validation date, accounting date. So based on the accounting date of the GL journal entry, system will start using this particular sequence. So here I need to specify the sequence whatever I have created. The sequence whatever I have created is Reliance US GL posting. And what is the effective start date? I would start the effective start date as October 1st. And here you can see general sources and general category. I want to use this particular sequencing for all the GL journals. So remember, when I say all GL journals, it could be even the journal entry which is coming from the subledgers as well, whether it could be payable journal, receivable journal, it doesn't matter. All the GL journals, for all the GL journal sources, I want to use this particular sequence. And if you want to use a different sequences for different journal sources, then you can click on plus button and start assigning different sequences for different your journal sources, journal category. But in this case, I just want to use the same journal source and say same sequence for all the journal sources, journal category, and hence I'm using this. And here you also have something called exceptions and exclusions. So let me click on exceptions. So when I click on add exceptions, so what I'm saying is, if my journal category is say I'm just making up. So maybe if my general category is say allocations, then in those cases I just want to use a different sequence. So probably I'll just want to use some other existing sequence. I do not know if, probably there are some other sequences, GL posting underscore 2, which was created by somebody. So in this example, what I am saying is, for all the GL journals which are created in the system under Reliance USD ledger, for all the journal sources, journal category, system should use this particular sequence. So that means the auto generated number should start, the sequencing number should start from 10,000. But if there are any journals which are created in this ledger using any journal source, but if the journal category is allocations, then it will use GL posting underscore 2. GL posting underscore 2. So I do not know what is the sequence number. So we can check the sequence number. What is the sequence running sequence number for this GL underscore posting underscore 2? And so this is an exception for general category of allocations. And let me save this. This is an exception. And what is exclusion? So when I say add exclusion, what I am saying here is, probably I'll just say addition. So in this case, what I'm saying is, if there are any GL journals created in the system under Reliance USD Ledger, irrespective of the journal source, if the general category is addition, I do not want to assign any document sequencing. So that means if the general category is addition, then no sequencing. Let me save this. Okay, so if you read this, for all the general source and category, this is a sequence which will be used. And if the general category is allocations, this is a sequence which would be used. And if the general category is addition, then no sequence is assigned. So let us try to create three different journals. One journal with a general category of addition, one general category of allocation, and third one would be a journal with any general category other than these two. And let's see how system will calculate the accounting sequence number. Let me do save and close. Now let me go to my GL journal screen and try to create a journal entry. Navigate to general accounting, journals, create journal, so now let me try to create a journal entry. For the first scenario, wherein it could be a journal with a general category other than these two. So I'll just say test journal 1 and accounting date October 2025. Test journal 1. And the category is anything other than the allocation and what was the other one? Allocations and additions. So I should be able to select anything other than allocations and additions. So let me just pick up something. I'll just pick up something, say, I'll just say direct transfer. It doesn't matter. And let me try to create a simple journal entry. Maybe debiting expense account and crediting a cash account. So debiting a sales salary account. Amount of say 25,000, and then crediting the cash account. So let me just change the cash account. Okay, this is 25,000. So let me save this. So this is my first scenario wherein I try to create a journal entry using other than these two. So that means now in this case, as soon as I post a journal entry, I should be able to see the accounting sequence number generated. And when you click on show more, this is where you can see your accounting sequence and the reporting sequence once it is posted. Now the batch is in unposted status. So let me post this journal entry. Okay, let me refresh this. I can see the batch status is in selected for posting. Let me wait for the batch to be posted. See, as soon as the batch is posted, here you can see accounting sequence name, Reliance USGL posting, which is the sequence which we have assigned. And this is the accounting sequence number, which is 10,000. Now for the next journal entry, the number would be 10,001, and then next journal entry would be 10,002, and so on. So that's for the journal created with a category other than allocations and addition. Now let me try to create a journal entry using allocations. So in that case, system should use this particular sequence instead of this one. And let me copy this particular journal entry and try to create a test journal 2, and this should be in October 2025. Save this, and now let me post this particular journal entry. Okay. Oh, sorry, I think I made a mistake. I should have actually changed the general category, so it is still not allocations. So you can see it has used the Reliance UGL posting. So let me again copy this, try to create a third journal entry. Now this time, before I post this particular journal entry, let me change the category. Okay, this is the test journal 3. Let me go to journal tab, and now this should be allocations. So allocations is my category, and based on our setup, if I select allocations and post this, system should be using a sequence GL underscore posting to, not Reliance GL posting. So let me do this. Yeah, you can see here GL underscore posting underscore 2 is the sequence which I have used by the system, and for this particular sequence looks like the starting number is 1000, which is what is coming here, and as far as this person is concerned, which we have created, the starting sequence number is 10,000. Here you can see both are different as expected. Now let me try to create a third journal entry using a general category of addition. Now in this case, I should not expect any sequence number to be generated. So let me again copy this, and let me call it as test journal 4, and period is October. And before I post this, let me change the category to additions. So if I change the category to addition, oh, okay, so unfortunately, I don't know, for some reason addition category does not exist here. Not sure the reason why addition is not existing. So probably let us go back to our configurations and use some other category under our exclusions and start using that particular category here. So probably maybe EBS transfer. Let me again go back to the configurations and go to setup and maintenance, manage accounting and reporting sequence. Go to sequence assignment, search for Reliance US, and within Reliance US, this is the enabled one. Looks like, I think this is our sequence. Okay, so under exclusion, instead of addition, let us go for EBS transfer. This is a general category. Now let me again do save and close. So now let us go back to our journal entry screen, create journal entry, or we can search for our earlier journal entries, and then we can copy that. So let me go to manage journals and search for any of the journal entry which was created in October 2025. So probably I'll use this one, and now let me copy this. Test journal 5, October, and now before I post this journal entry, Let me go to General tab and change this to EBS transfer. So now based on our current rules, if I select EBS transfer, then no sequencing should be generated. Let me save this and post it and go to the sequencing tab. Ideally, no sequence number should be generated. Okay, you can see the general batch status is posted, and as expected, no accounting sequence number is generated. So this is how you set up your accounting sequences. Now let me show you how to set up a reporting sequence as well. So again, it's the same configuration. Go to your setup and maintenance, manage accounting and reporting sequences. Again, same steps. First, create a sequence. I would say Reliance US reporting sequence. Reliance US reporting sequence. And again, this is the reporting sequence for FY 2025. And I would want this to start from say 1st of October, and my initial number, probably this time now I want to start the initial number reporting sequence maybe from 50,000. So it could be different sequence number, running sequence number. Save and close. Similarly, now go to sequence assignment, click on plus button, select Reliance US, General Ledger. Now change this to period close. So once you click on period close, so it says you want this particular reporting sequence number to be generated for all the legal entities under this particular ledger. Now in this case, there are two legal entities. By default, both of them are checked, and if you do not want this particular reporting sequence number to be generated for any specific your legal entity or a balancing segment value, you can uncheck them. So sequence validation date is accounting date. So again, this particular reporting sequence number, if you specify here start date as 1st of October, so system will ensure that reporting sequence number would be generated for all the journals which are created on or after 1st of October. So this is what system is doing, sequence validation date. It is comparing this particular effective start date with the GL general accounting date or GL date. And sequence name is Reliance US reporting sequence, which we have created just now. And I would want this to start from 1st of October. Again, the same thing. I want this to be used for against all the general sources, general category. Again, here you can write again exceptions, exclusions. So now I'm not doing any exceptions or exclusions. So I want this particular reporting sequence number to be generated for all the GL journals. So let me save and close. Now, for the same journals which we have already created, let me close the period and see whether system will generate the reporting sequence number for all those GL journals which we have created. Period close, general ledger, close the period. One important point which you need to note is whenever you start using a reporting sequence from one particular period, so in this case from October, ensure that all the other periods are closed. You cannot directly start closing October period before closing all the other periods. In a real client implementation, generally you will not do that, but otherwise in a testing environment, whenever you try that, ensure that all the previous periods are closed as well. Otherwise, your reporting sequence number will not be generated. So in this case, now October period is closed. So as the October period is closed, now let me go and check for the journals, whatever we have created for the month of October, if the reporting sequence number is generated. Go to manage journals, search for the journal entries which are created in the month of October, and look for the journals whatever are created and posted. So maybe let me go for the latest journal entry. See, you can see reporting US reporting sequence number It started with 50,000 and you can see 50,003 because there are started from 50,000, 50,001, 2 and 3. There are 4 posted journal entry. Obviously, this would be assigned only for the posted journal entry. And pick up maybe the first journal entry and you should be able to see again the reporting sequence number which is assigned. Another interesting part is if in a GL, as long as the GL period is not permanently closed, you can very well go and open the period. As soon as you open the period, automatically all these numbers would be deleted, reporting sequence number would be deleted. And interesting part is once you close the period, again system will use the same sequence number because the sequence numbers whatever were assigned were deleted, so system will store those sequence numbers again for future use. So now in this case, let me go and open the period and then go back to the particular journal entry, and then you should be able to see that reported sequence number would be automatically deleted by the system. Now let me open the period, refresh this and wait for the period status to be updated. And once the period status is updated from close to open, you can very well go back and verify those particular journal entries. So it is opened. Now you should not be able to see the reporting sequence number. Reporting sequence number would have been removed by the system. Manage journals, search for the journals under October 25 period. So now look for any of the journals, maybe the latest one again. See, the sequence number is deleted. You can again go to this journal entry as well. See, this sequence number is deleted. So ideally it will delete only this particular sequence number, but not the accounting sequence number. We will also check one more journal entry. Probably we'll check this one. See, this sequence number stays as is, only this sequence number is deleted. Now let me again go back to the period close, and this time I'll again try to close the period. And once you try to close the period, system will again reassign the sequence numbers and it will again start from 50,000. So whatever it has deleted, it will again reuse those sequence numbers. So you can see the period is closed. Let me go back to the journal entries, search for the journals in the month of October. Now pick up again the latest journal entry, go to show more, and you can see the reporting. This one, Reliance US reporting sequence number is generated. Again, pick up one more. Yeah. So this is how you create your reporting sequence numbers, and you set up your document sequences, your accounting and reporting sequence. Thank you. Thanks for watching my video. For interesting videos on Oracle EBS and Fusion Finances, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.